my friends. It's Miss Allwine coming at you from my bed. I was doing my work in my bed today. I was just chilly. I couldn't get warm. So I figured I would grab our story and we could pick up from here. So why don't you get cozy, comfy too? And we will pick up where we left off. So you might have noticed that I recorded 2 days on Sunday actually because I just wanted to read the story. So this is me on Wednesday for real. I'm back on track and let's pick up where we left off. All right. Okay, so Ivan is learning all about, I've got my big cozy robe on. Ivan is learning all about words and letters, right? So I'm interested to see what he does. H. I lay out 16 pieces of poster board, 4 down, 4 across. A perfect square. He put fourths together to make one whole, right? Ivan and his geometry skills. All right. What are you up to? Bob demands. I'm guessing it doesn't involve sleep. It has to do with the billboard. That sign's a monstrosity, particularly since I'm not featured. I grab my bucket of red paint. You're not on the billboard because you're not in the show, I point out. Technically, I don't even live here, Bob says with a sniff. I'm homeless by choice. I know, I'm just saying. I studied the billboard. Then I make 2 fat lines, like broom handles. Another fat line connects them. I stand back. What do you think? What letter did he make? I gave it away when I said the title of this section, H. What is it? No, wait, let me guess. A ladder. Not a ladder, I say. A letter. At least I think that's what they're called. I have to make 3 more. Bob cuddles up next to Not Tag. Why? He asks, yawning. Because then I'll have a word, a very important word. I dip my fingers into the paint. What word? Bob asks. Home. Bob closes his eyes. That's not so important, he says quietly. Let's pause for a second. Why do you think Ivan would be spelling out the word home? Remember, he's trying to get a point across to help get Ruby into a zoo or a better place for her to spend her life. Home. Think about that, okay? Nervous. All day long, I knuckle walk circles around my cage. I'm so nervous I can't nap. I can't even eat. Well, not very much anyway. I'm ready to show Julia what I've made. She has to be Julia. It has to be Julia. She's an artist. Surely she'll truly look at my painting. She won't notice the smudges and tears. She won't care if the pieces don't quite fit together. She'll see past all of that. Surely Julia will see what I've imagined. I watch Ruby trudge sullenly through the 4 o'clock show, and I wonder, what will happen if I fail? What if I can't make Julia understand? But of course I know the answer. Nothing. Nothing will happen. Ruby will remain the main attraction at Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, conveniently located off of I-95, with shows at 2, 4, and 7, 365 days a year, year after year after year. I really don't remember how all of this goes, so let's make a prediction together. Do we think Ivan's somehow going to get something on the billboard sign? Or is he going to get Julia to put something on the sign? Or is he just using the sign to help him write letters? I really don't remember. So we can all make a prediction together. Showing Julia. It's time to show my work. The mall is silent except for Thelma the macaw, who is practicing a new phrase. Uh-oh! Julia is finishing her homework. George is sleeping outside. Mac has gone home for the night. I grab Not Tag and carefully pull out the folded papers. So many paintings. Page after page, piece after piece of my giant puzzle. I pound on my glass and Julia glances over. Fingers trembling, I hold up one of my paintings. It's brown and green. It's a corner piece. Julia smiles. I display another picture, and then another, and another, and another, each one a tiny part of the whole. Julia looks confused. But what is it? She asks. She shrugs. It doesn't matter. It's pretty just as it is. Uh-oh, says Thelma. No, I think. No, it does matter. So he showed Julia his paintings and his picture he put together, but she just thinks he's just being a cute gorilla, right? Remember, they can't talk to each other. More paintings. George calls out to Julia. He's done for the night. Grab your backpack, he says, and hurry, it's late. Gotta go, Ivan, Julia says. Julia doesn't understand. I have to find the right pieces. I dig through the pile. They're here somewhere. I know they are. I find one, another. I try to hold 4 of them up against the glass. Bob, I say, help me, hurry. Bob grabs paintings with his teeth and drags them to me. One by one, I shove pictures through the window crack. They crumple and tear. There are too many pieces. My puzzle is too big. Careful, Ivan, Julia says. Those might be worth millions someday. You never know. She arranges the paintings into a neat stack. I suppose Mac's going to want to sell these at the gift shop. She still doesn't understand. I shove more out of the hole and more, and all of them, one after another. So Ivan's been painting, has he? George says as he puts on his coat. A lot, says Julia with a laugh. A whole lot. You're not taking all those home with you, are you? George asks. I mean, no offense to Ivan, but they're just blobs. Julia thumbs through the towering stack of paintings. They might not be blobs to Ivan. Let's leave those by the office, George suggests. Mac will want to try and sell them. Although, why would anyone pay $40 for a finger painting a 2-year-old could do? I don't know. I like Ivan's work, Julia says. He puts his feelings into them. He puts his hair into them, George says. Julia waves goodbye. Night, Ivan. Night, Bob. I press my nose against the glass and watch her walk away. All my work, all my planning, wasted. I look at Ruby sleeping soundly, and suddenly I know she'll never leave the Big Top Mall. She'll be here forever, just like Stella. I can't let Ruby be another one and only. Do you guys think Julia's going to figure it out when she gets home with the paintings, or is she just going to put them to the side and not figure it out? All that hard work Ivan did. That's a frustrating feeling, right? When you work really hard on something and maybe your teacher or your parents or your friends don't really appreciate it or understand. Chest beating. Often, when visitors come to see me, they beat their hands against their puny chests, pretending to be me. They pound away, soundless as the wet wings of a new butterfly. The chest beating of a mad gorilla is nothing you ever want to hear, not even if you're wearing earplugs. Not even if you're 3 miles away wearing earplugs. A real chest beating sends the whole jungle running, as if the sky has broken open, as if men with guns are near. Angry. Thump. The sound, my sound, echoes through the mall. George and Julia spin around. Julia drops her backpack. George drops his keys. The pile of pictures goes flying. Thump, thump, thump. I bounce off of the walls. I screech and bellow. I beat and beat and beat my chest. Bob hides under knot tag, his paws over his ears. I'm angry at last. I have someone to protect. You haven't seen Ivan get that angry, right? Imagine how surprising that would be for Julia and George, and Bob even. They never see him like that. Puzzle pieces. After a long while, I grow quiet. I sit. It's hard work being angry. Julia looks at me with wide, disbelieving eyes. I'm panting, sorry. I'm a little out of shape. What the heck was that? George demands. Something's really wrong, Julia says. I've never seen Ivan act this way. He seems to be calming down, thank goodness, George says. Julia shakes her head. He's still upset. Dad, look at his eyes. My pictures are scattered all over the floor like huge autumn leaves. What a mess, George says, sighing. Wish I hadn't bothered sweeping tonight. Do you think Ivan's okay? Julia asks. Probably just a temper tantrum, George says. He reaches under the chair to retrieve a brown and red picture. Can't say I blame the guy stuck in the tiny cage all these years. Here's a picture of all his paintings all around the floor. Julia starts to answer, but then she freezes. She cocks her head. She stares at her feet where my pictures lie in disarray. Dad, she whispers, come see this. I'm sure he's another Rembrandt, George says. That's a famous artist. Let's pick these up and get going, Jules. I'm exhausted. Dad, she says again, seriously, look at this. George follows her gaze. I see blobs, many, many blobs with a long occasional swirl. Please, can we go home now? That's an H, Dad. Julia kneels down, straightening one picture then another. That's an H, and here, she grabs more pictures. Put this one here, and I don't know, maybe that one. You have an E. George rubs his eyes. I hold my breath. Julia is running now. She picks up the picture, sets down another. It's like a puzzle, Dad. This is something. It's a word, maybe words, and a picture of something, a giant picture. Jules, George says, this is crazy, he says, looking at the floor, wandering from picture to picture, scratching his head. H, Julia says, E-O, ho. Julia chews on her lips. H-E-O, that looks like an I. H-E-O-I. George writes in the air with his fingers. I-E-O-H. Not the letter, an actual I, and that's a foot, or maybe a tree and a trunk. Dad, I think that's a trunk. Julia runs to the window. Ivan, she whispers, what did you make? I stare back. I cross my arms. This is taking much longer than I thought it would. Humans. Sometimes they make chimps look smart. I'm going to stop us there. It's getting really, really good. I can't wait to pick up with you guys tomorrow, and we'll see what happens if Julia and George figure out Ivan's message. Have a wonderful day, my friends. I miss you lots. Bye.